I'm gonna go ahead, I don't want this sky, like this is gonna be mountains right about here, but I think I do want this color of the sky over the mountains, because what that's gonna do is it's going to allow me to fade my mountains into it. I think it'll be just really pretty compared to having it. So I'm gonna just throw some of that color down. This is not sky. What I'm painting here is not sky. This is gonna be mountains. I'm kind of just putting a base tone for my mountains in already. I just think it's very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, again, this is not really sky at all. Just background color. I'm gonna take a clean, dry 1-inch brush and I'm gonna work in some of our background. So for that, I'm gonna use my yellow ochre, just a little, I don't need much. A little bit of our Hansa yellow, yellow ochre, Hansa yellow, let's see. And some white and some burnt umber. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. And I've already got my purple base tone and I kind of see where I want, oh, okay, that's where I want my general outline of some of these colors, is right along those lines that I detailed in there with the sketch. And so now I'm just kind of using the purple to my advantage, using it to create the look of some shadow back up in there. Well, that's pretty. So I just hit more yellow ochre is all I did there. More yellow ochre right up in here. Nice. And let's go ahead and get just right back here some of these. Let's go ahead and get some of these background colors in. You see, I've got a little dirty color in the back of my brush. It almost gives me a shadow without having to do anything. How cool is that? That is really cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go right around my Italian cypress trees and not worry about it. Okay. I see some burnt umber. I'm just playing with color. Ooh, that's nice. See, creating highlight and shadow. I see just a touch, just not much, but just a touch of that sap green, even some of the red. Sap green makes kind of a pretty brown, but a little bit on the green side. No, more on the green side. There we go. Now right back up in here, maybe I see some more Hansa yellow. See, I'm just picking up the color in the brush. Not a lot of mixing. The mixing is happening on the canvas, not so much on the palette during this step. All right, I'm going to continue to paint these trees. I'm going to grab the same color, of course. Makes sense. Let me see. Next one is going to be right here, maybe. Maybe here, smaller. I don't know. And do these fairly compact. I think maybe. Let me go and get that filled in. I think maybe the trees here, they're a little too, I'm seeing too many limbs on the Italian cypress trees. Maybe we don't want to see the limbs as much. There we go. Like, you know what I mean? Sticking out. I don't think we want to have them sticking out like an evergreen tree that we would normally paint. A little more compact. Maybe. Which is hard for me to do because for 10 years I've tried to get good in individual limbs, and now to kind of like do something that's like what we all try to avoid is kind of weird and annoying, but it's okay. There we go. That's so funny. And again, a little bit of symmetry is desirable. I don't know that we don't want to go crazy with symmetry. And for that reason, maybe I'll leave a blank spot and do, you know, this one's taller though. Oh yeah, it is. I can always go bigger. Let me try not to. There we go. I'm just playing. There we go. And I'm just going to scrub that in. There. Wipe the brush. I'm putting a lot of paint. If yours doesn't go on as smoothly as mine, it's because you don't have enough paint. Putting on a lot of paint. Just smush some white right on there. Good. Yeah, that'll work. And then up in here, I need to stop and get some more yellow ochre. Clean my palette probably after this step, but I want to get a one layer solution here for all of this. I don't want to go to the point where I've got too many layers going of paint, because I've got to really wipe this off here in a moment in order to get my little orchard in. which I was planning to do. Now it's only been a couple of minutes, maybe 5, and I'm just gonna peel these little pieces of shop towel off, and that's really all I needed. That may not even be necessary. I don't have much over this, but I just didn't want a bunch of wet, slippery paint there. This is the underpainting for the building. Of course, I like to underpaint my buildings. You know, a little bit of that green's not gonna hurt it. I like to underpaint my buildings in a color that makes sense with the rest of what I'm gonna do. So if I'm gonna do a highlight on the right side, then my underpainting needs to have a highlight color to it. Doesn't need to be dark. Makes sense, but it's those things we forget or we just don't know to do that really make a big difference. Okay, so with the 3/4 brush, I'm just, boom, just getting a little color in there. I see just a little more yellow ochre. Oh, that's pretty. Look at that. Yeah. Cool. And let's go with a little more yellow ochre yet. Right down in here. And there's just a good variety. It's a good variety. Okay. All of this, by the way, is covered by a big tree. I don't care anything about this side so much. I'm going to take some red, some blue. There's a little mud in my brush also. Red and blue, and a little bit of mud. So I got that kind of a purpley. It's actually very pretty. And I'm just going to sprinkle that around here. What that's going to do is it's going to represent a bit of a shadow. I know it looks crazy. It doesn't look right, but it will be okay. That is going to represent a bit of a shadow from the tree. What tree? Well, the tree I haven't put in yet. That tree. There. Okay. I also think there should be some shadow there. And honestly, there should be some shadow under the roof. Boom. I do not want to see a lot of that roof. There we go. That's it. That's it. Actually, this whole tree comes off the side here. Get more paint in the brush. You think, wow, you're never going to be able to do anything with this. Yes, I am. I'm going to stop and I'm going to wipe this off here in just a moment. I'm actually going to blot it. There's purple. Actually going to blot it. Rather than paint a whole bunch over here, I'm going to stop. I'm going to get a shop towel on this so this can be drying. Shop towel on, well, really everything needs a shop towel on this side. So let me just start by doing this. Okay, over everything. Now, I'm just putting it on, I'm pressing it. I'm not rubbing the towel. Because if you just rub the towel, like smear it, you're going to destroy what's underneath. But if you do just what I'm doing here, the house needs it desperately. You can just piecemeal this on. I mean, like a little, I don't know, like a craft project. So here's what I'm going to do. My light's coming through like this, and I'm just going on the edges of these Italian cypress. Just want to boom, 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 hit and show a little bit of light. More yellow ochre, perhaps. Very, very saturated in color. You do that by not putting too much white in. Of course, these may, be a little hard to get highlight on top of. If you need to gently blot those, you can. Be careful not to destroy the background, but that is an option. I'm just dabbling, kind of, because there's such a interesting shape. I'm going to wipe off the brush here, and I'm just going to, with very little paint in that brush, I'm just going to create a rounded effect. So in other words, have some of this just sprinkled. There's my palette, a little paint in there, a little more paint. Trying not to go too individual. I do want some broken up areas, but I also want them to look kind of solid, contrary to what we almost always do. Oh, that's not bad. That reads like a Italian cypress tree in a Italian landscape. That's the way it reads. It definitely looks like it to me. Cool. Boom. Of course, you got to go outside of your dark with the light. That's important. You could do a couple more shots of this yellow ochre. I think that's so pretty. Oh, there it is. So I've got not only Hansa yellow tones, but I've got these yellow ochre tones in addition to that. See that? I think that really works. Okay. Good. Good. See, I could spend all day doing these little nuances of color, but will only go so far with it. All right, it's time to pull all these little pieces off, and you can see quite a bit of resistance. That's good. It's not dry. I mean, there's my finger. And it's definitely, there's paint's wet. I mean, so when I say, oh, we've dried the canvas, I don't actually mean that. But what I do mean is that it's very sticky. That's great. Makes it so much easier to paint over. Oh, it makes a big difference. If you don't do this, then you're going to have an abundance of mud. There you go. And at the end of the day, this has probably been soaking for 15 to even 20 minutes for this painting today. All right, now right up here, I'm going to do the stucco on the building. I'm just going to take some white, just white. You can't just use pure white. Well, watch, it does quickly mix with what's there. But remember, what's there is very dry, sticky. You know what I mean? There you go. So I'm just creating now a mottled effect of highlight, not solid, but I want this to be mottled. Oh, I think that's so pretty. Look at that. Let's do the terracotta tile roof. So there's some yellow ochre, a little bit of mud, burnt umber, and red. And maybe more yellow ochre than that. A lot of paint there. And I'm literally just going to paint this in. Like that. Boom. Just fill it in. Probably should have done that a long time ago, but I didn't get to it. So I'm doing it now. There you go. Just doing it now. These tedious things here. Got to get them in. There. It's kind of pretty. Let me wipe that brush out. Take some just yellow ochre. I'm going to stick that right here. I don't care necessarily how thick of a buildup I put on, because I have nothing going on top of this. And over here, I am going to cover that with a tree for obvious reasons, to make the perspective much easier to deal with. And I want a slight bit of a lumpiness to the top of the roof, because those, maybe the terracotta tiles are uneven. Boom. Oh, that's not bad. Boy, that actually looks pretty good. Yes. And we're going to go ahead and paint that in as well. Get that in. Okay. And then let me just take some more of our yellow ochre. Get that in. All right, let's go ahead and highlight our tree here. So I've got my detail brush, and I've got some sap green, Hansa yellow, yellow ochre, white, Hansa yellow, plenty of paint, lots of paint. More paint than brush. I got so much paint going on in here. There we go, a little red snuck in, it won't hurt it. Now remember, we've absorbed a lot of the slippery wet oil, and now it's fairly tacky, sticky, and dry. There we go. And I'm just going to use this time to just bring in a few details. You can see where up there where we didn't have our shop towel, and it just slides right around. But down here, it sticks really good. See the difference? That's good. It actually adds a bit of roundness. It's kind of pretty. Okay. I'm just going to spend a few moments here detailing this bush. Oh, it's so easy. If yours doesn't work like mine does, put your shop towel back up there, let it dry some more, because it's just not dry enough. There you go. The shop towel trick is easily one of the best things that you can learn to do with oil painting in order to get it all done in one day and still have the control over the paint that sometimes we lack when we try to do it all in one day. But this will really give you complete maximum control over your subject matter, over what's going on. You're not going to have to make compromises just because you want to get it finished today. I'm going to grab the detail brush with some burnt umber and black, and then I'm going to take one side through the highlight. So typically I put the black and brown all the way through the brush, and then just boop, pick up a little highlight, just the yellow ochre and white we have sitting around the palette. And once again, I'm going to use this. This is just a great technique because it's so tiny of an area to get a nice highlight. If you're not comfortable double loading, just use the liner brush to highlight. That would work out just as well. It would be the same effect, but I like double loading. Sometimes I don't, you know me, if you paint with me a lot, you'll know I don't hardly ever double load, but it is a fun little trick to know. Yeah, it is. There, my little orchard tree. A couple more branches, boom, boom, boom. Over here, I see some on that tree there. Yeah, this will all work. This will all work out. Okay, and then do I see a little in this trunk, in this tree? Not really, just a couple of, there we go. And let me just now detail out just the edges of the tree. So it's not totally stamped on, but it still has some life, some character and detail with these comma stroke leaves, which is little X's. You can practice these on a scrap canvas if you're not comfortable with them. Because once you get this stroke down, it's just a dabbling stroke, very simple to do once you learn it. I understand when you're learning it, it's not so simple. But once you do learn it, it is simple. So it is worth practicing it on a blank canvas, just little X's, little commas. As I just, each one touches another. Each one touches another, is what I'm trying to say. Each one touches another. Only possible because I wiped off, not wiped off, sorry, because I so frequently do wipe off, but because I blotted and let that paper towel absorb all of that wet, slippery mess that we had up here. Oh, nice. See, I'm capturing the light here. I'm not just arbitrarily hitting it, but I am trying to capture the light. I get some more of that color. It has a little more of a Hansa yellow in it. There we go. Now I'm going to put in a few shadows. So I'm going to take some sap green, that's a beautiful color, with our purple. And I'm just going to bring in some shadows, boom, boom, cover up some of the tree trunks, especially this one. Make that quiet. There we go. Not so noisy as a noisy tree trunk. Go into some black and sap green and purple, mostly black and sap green. Because I just need a few darker just under to show a roundness to the tree. I don't want it to be flat, but I do want it to be rounded a bit. And that will, just in the middle now, I don't want to destroy this gorgeous light. In fact, what I'm going to do is emphasize my light with the shadows. See how that works? Popping that out a bit. Emphasizing the light with the shadows. Don't overdo this. You could absolutely ruin what you just did with this shadow. Don't overdo. Because if you put too much shadow and you'll lose that glowing effect, it won't glow anymore if you put too much shadow. But I am going to just break us up with a few more shadows even over here. Let me get really quick in here with my terracotta roof color, and I might just add a little bit of purple to that. And I'm just going to get this path in here. Scrub that in. Okay. And then a shadow with some burnt umber on this side. Cool. Makes a big difference. See that? And then it goes, it's supposed to look like it goes right behind there into the backyard. That's nice right there. Put as much detail in this or as little as you like. It just is totally up to you. Let me get this is that same, just yellow ochre and white color. And just sprinkle on some highlight because everything's so bright. It's a beautiful, bright day. So we definitely want, at least I definitely want in my painting, some brightness to this path. I'm looking here at these beautiful white, I just think we should repeat some of the white colors from the trees in here. What that'll do is it'll make it look even brighter, even more beautiful and stunning with color. Oops. Got so much mud, mixed together here. Gotta be careful, but I just want some of that white, lighter white, almost pure white, a little Hansa yellow in there. Where would I want it? Maybe some right here. Just a little right there. So we'll just go throughout the painting. Anywhere I feel like it's appropriate, it would look good. I'm just gonna toss a sprinkling of that light in. Oh, I think that's pretty. Not overdone. I don't do the whole thing. Right up in here might be nice on some of these Italian cypress trees. Will look totally different back here. As I have up here, I've limited the paint so much. I have total freedom. Back here, not as much. Not as much. But I'm just building up a little blob of paint on the brush, and I'm coming through and just sort of touching. And I'm letting it mix with what's down. It's almost too white, so I'm going to come back with some yellow ochre in that brush just to knock that back. But you know what? You get the idea. You can kind of see what I'm going for. I won't do them all. I might just do these few here. Kind of just some white spots I think are kind of interesting. Again, don't want to blend it too much. Pretty. And then down here, of course, this is a little bit tucked away, not getting as much light. I will just hit it with a little light. Yeah, soft, pretty. All right, that wraps things up for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and you can really use these techniques to complete just about any landscape painting. Thanks for watching. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe if you're not already, and click the like button. That helps me out a lot. Stick around, watch a couple more videos, and stay inspired.